Hey guys, Elliot here. As always, we are ready to uncover another true crime case. Thanks for sticking with me again. Today, we are dealing with a very recent case which occurred in October 2025, meaning we are talking about a still active case. Several details and updates will be exposed in the following months. This is the tragic case of Kada Scott. Another vibrant life cut far too soon. A 23-year-old, a recent graduate with tons of dreams and passions ahead, still to pursue, just gone forever. She was months away from graduating from Penn State University. This is one of those cases which might have been preventable. This young girl was at risk, but no one out there seemed to care. Starting off from the basics, who was Kada Scott? Kada was described as a generous, trendy, and kind-hearted girl who was big into fashion and art. Having graduated in 2023 with a bachelor's degree in communications and liberal arts and sciences, she was able to find a job in a facility named The Terrace in the Chestnut area of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where she lived with her family. I'd like to give you a glimpse at Kada from a closer perspective. She was even planning to win a beauty contest for Miss Pennsylvania in the United States. Not gonna lie, she was a stunning girl with a magnetic look. When doing some research on the internet, I found out Kada was pretty active on social media, having an Instagram account where she would post pictures of her, sporting fancy clothing, with always a smile printed on her face. She looked like a model. Not only that, but she had even started a YouTube channel with one video for ambitious, multi-passionate women, personal development and productivity-wise. Well, our story starts on October the 4th, 2025, which was the last day she would be seen alive. That day, sticking to what Kevin Scott, Kada's dad, disclosed to the media, his daughter had a work shift at the Terrace from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Here's a brief description directly from their website, terrace@chestnuthill.com. Built from a charming 19th century stone mansion, our upscale senior living community in Philadelphia offers a compassionate environment of personal care, memory care, and enriching lifestyles for your loved one. Unquote. The place where Kada had only worked for 2 weeks is an assisted senior living facility. Her family last saw her shortly before the start of her night shift at roughly 9:45 p.m. At roughly 10 p.m., she was seen outside of the terrace, heading towards a dark SUV, and then, poof. The issue being she didn't make it home, and her family, of course, knew something was totally out of character for Kada. When they realized neither had heard from their daughter, they tried to call her. Their calls were sent straight to voicemail. Kada's mom, Kim, then contacted the assisted facility, The Terrace at Chestnut Hill, which said their daughter left her shift early, at 10:30 p.m. on October the 4th. Police found Kada's mom's car that Kada had used to drive to the workplace in the employee parking lot without her personal belongings, including an iPad, iPhone, and Apple Watch. Where was Kada? Why could no one get in touch with her? Why leave her shift earlier? Maybe she didn't like the workplace? It's a possibility. What we know is that Kada got some phone calls at work from a guy, an important person in our case. In this regard, police got cell phone records and Kada had received 12 calls from the same number between 9:25 p.m. and 10:12 p.m. the same night. According to the Philly Police Department, Kada had met this person and this was the last time she was seen alive. To be more precise, they were in contact with each other for a few days, even leading up to her disappearance. Sticking to court documents, The last exchange happens at 10:09 p.m. with the words, "Call me when you're here." At roughly 10:30 p.m., Kada's cell phone stops transmitting a signal, so basically shortly after, she was seen entering this dark SUV at the terrace. It's unknown as of November 2025 what type of relationship Kada and this guy named Keon King were in, so we don't know whether the two were dating or whatever, and I guess these crucial whereabouts will be dissected in the upcoming weeks. We could make some assumptions here, but at this early stage, with an ongoing investigation, it's just pointless from my standpoint. Anyways, Keon King had a rocky relationship with his ex, where domestic issues were involved. This is relevant insight, which may aid us to get what type of person this guy was. I'll provide you with an example of how bad the situation was. On January the 13th, 2025, just after midnight, Keon attempted to break into his ex-girlfriend's home. But since he wasn't successful in doing that, he tried again, at 3 a.m. in the morning. But this time he was armed. Fortunately for the girl, nothing bad happened. We're dealing with a very serious and cautious matter here, and I have zero clues as to why these, along with other domestic incidents reported, weren't taken seriously by who had to take them in charge. It's just unbelievable. What's worth mentioning is that Keon King had already been investigated early in 2025 in the alleged kidnapping and strangulation of another individual, sticking to Assistant District Attorney Ashley Toksilowski. The charges were dropped after the victim failed to turn up to court. In addition to that, King has been charged with kidnapping, false imprisonment, stalking, criminal use of communication facility, recklessly endangering another person, and tampering with evidence. According to a study conducted by the University of Pennsylvania, more than 70% of victims of domestic violence don't turn up to court. So here is another element to take into consideration here. It might be challenging for law enforcement to deal with such cases too. Let's try to focus more on October the 4th, 2025. Kada was exchanging texts with a person claiming to be Kel, but it later turned out to be King. Investigators say one of Kada's Scott's co-workers reported seeing her upset outside their workplace at 10 p.m. on the night she disappeared. In light of this, the co-worker heard Kada say, "I can't believe you're calling me for that shit," before she walked toward a parked SUV. Both Kada and King's cell phones were traceable at 10:15 near the terrace on October the 4th. Philadelphia Police Deputy Commissioner Frank Vanore said that the evidence showed it was pretty clear Keon had been communicating with Kada. As said previously, shortly after 10 p.m., her phone literally dies, and she is nowhere to be found. At roughly 10:28 p.m., a dark-colored vehicle is seen pulling into the Aubrey Recreation Center parking lot, across the street from the abandoned Ada Lewis Middle School. The first clue investigators had was that she had been kidnapped. It was very unlikely for Kada to vanish without letting her family know, so she couldn't have done it on her own free will. Even the FBI's Violent Crime Task Force joined the extensive search which was conducted. Kevin Scott, Kada's dad, said, quote, "Canvass the neighborhoods, any leads we can possibly get, so we can forward to police, in hopes of getting my daughter back home. You never know what little, small, minuscule information may apply to the big picture, the puzzle that might get Kada home," unquote. On October the 5th, 2025, police were able to track King's cell phone moves between his residence on Belmar Terrace and close to an abandoned middle school. Remember this abandoned middle school because it turned out to be crucial later on in the video. During an October the 8th press conference, it was disclosed that family and friends were being interviewed and that Kada's cell phone's data were under an investigation radar as well. A week into Kada's disappearance, Keon King was arrested for kidnapping and related offenses on October the 15th. This is what emerged during a press conference. He was held on a $2.5 million bail. His previous moves were analyzed, of course. Police say there could be other accomplices. However, no further details were revealed about their whereabouts or the role of their involvement. Assistant District Attorney Ashley Toxilowski with the Homicide Unit said, quote, "Our investigation has led us here. We were able to track communications on his phone," unquote. As explained backwards, Keon King was already charged with a similar crime. In fact, a young woman was allegedly kidnapped by him and then assaulted, and due to the fact the witnesses didn't show up twice to court, all charges were dropped. But fortunately, with Kada's disappearance on the radar, Todzlilowski added, quote, "So at this point, he will have two open kidnapping cases that will face preliminary hearings in the coming months," unquote. As far as the first kidnapping arrest, King was able to post 10% of the $200,000 bail. It seems like this wasn't the first time this guy had to deal with the cops. Because, listen, just a few days before Kada's vanishing, Keon King was arrested for driving without a license. In the days following Kada's disappearance, investigators with the Philadelphia Police Department conducted extensive searches of the area, with zero signs of Kada whatsoever. Let's take a step backward. We're going too fast. Let's try to set a timeline together in order to have a clearer picture. So, on October the 7th, investigators got a tip about a car, a black 2008 Hyundai Accent, set on fire, and once arrived on scene to canvass the vehicle, it was already towed and compacted to a junkyard. The car had been stolen a few days before, on October the 3rd, at roughly 11 p.m., from the 6600 block of Sprague Street, and according to police, King might be at the heart of the stealing, which had occurred just the day before Kada would go missing. The vehicle was left unattended by a food delivery driver. According to investigators, King would have then used the stolen vehicle to meet up with Kada Scott the following night. In fact, if you rightfully remember, Kada was seen by a colleague approaching a dark SUV on October the 4th. Investigators unveil the CCTV camera and cell phone data linking and the Hyundai Accent to several scenes that are part of the investigation. A few days followed before police asked the public to locate a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry. In this regard, they got a tip according to which the car was parked in the Gypsy Lane condos. What we do know about this car is that it belongs to Keon King, but no additional details were revealed. I don't see the point in stealing another car, given the fact he already had one, honestly. Maybe it's just me. What are your thoughts about that, guys? Let me know in the comment section below. I know this might be a little confusing for some of you listening, but in the early hours of October the 6th, King's car, the metallic gold Toyota Camry, was seen being parked close to the black Hyundai Accent, according to court documents, the stolen car we mentioned before. Not only that, but two people were caught on surveillance removing a heavy object, consistent with a human body, from the passenger seat of the black car. The people were then caught bringing this heavy object towards the playground of the abandoned middle school. It's assumed that more than one person has to be responsible. On October the 7th, at roughly 2:30 a.m., a person was captured entering the black stolen vehicle and driving off in the distance. In the meantime, the extensive search continued while the days dragged on, and even what was considered Keon King's property in the 5500 block of Belmar Terrace was examined on October the 9th. A few items were recovered, such as 3 cell phones, latex gloves, 1 tablet, a hammer, and a 9mm ammunition. Very hunky, isn't it? Kada's family starts a GoFundMe to raise reward money for plausible information that leads to finding their beloved daughter. On October the 10th, at 3 p.m., police disclosed a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry was spotted on surveillance video, heading to the parking lot at Gypsy Lane condos, with a man, most likely Keon King, repeatedly exiting the car and accessing the trunk prior to leaving the car. Their search for Kada Scott intensified in an area which is about 3 miles from where she was last seen, the Aubrey Arboretum. The Aubrey Arboretum area was largely canvassed using drones and even canine units and dogs. In particular, their attention was drawn to an abandoned school, Ada Lewis Middle School, where police found the physical evidence of Kada. Her iPad case, debit card, glasses, and phone case were recovered there, but apparently there was no trace of her. For those wondering, the Aubrey Arboretum is a non-profit arboretum, the former Cope family estate, located in Germantown, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 2 more days passed when finally, on October 18th, thanks to a very specific tip police received, they paid another visit to the abandoned middle school. This time their efforts paid off. Kada's lifeless remains were discovered in a shallow grave in a wooded area at roughly 10 a.m. A very sad outcome no one hoped for. Everyone wished she would be alive. Kada's family was notified by police, and it was a very heartbreaking moment, as many of you might guess, of course. The family greatly appreciated how the city has supported them in the days and weeks since Kada's death. Privacy was requested by the family in order to process in the proper way their tragic loss. The following day, police explained DNA testing indicates the remains found at the abandoned school are those of Kada Scott. On October the 22nd, the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office ruled Kada's death as a homicide. She had died from a gunshot wound to the head. Well, the date of the death was reported as of October 18th, but police specified she had probably died shortly after her disappearance at the beginning of the month. 2 weeks of extensive search with many tips led to the discovery of her body. They didn't find her in the first place, despite the fact they were already in the area days prior. A question has to be addressed. Why wasn't she found in the first place? The location where Kada's body was found was an area plentiful in vegetation, so this proved to be challenging for the rescue team to find her. Plus, we should be mindful of the fact that it was still October, at the beginning of fall, so there had to be lots of leaves. The community was left with frustration, of course, because she was found the second time police searched. The Scott family was devastated by the confirmation that Kada had been found, not alive, as they hoped. What is certain is that Kada was taken from them far too soon. Philadelphia City Council President Kenyatta Johnston was devastated by the news of the finding of Kada's body. He added that the city must commit itself to protecting women and demanding accountability. Here are his words, quote, "My deepest condolences go out to Kada's family, friends, and loved ones during this unimaginably painful time," unquote. Our case continues to be enriched with details because on October 20th, the District Attorney's Office revealed new charges against Keon King, including arson, causing catastrophe, conspiracy, and tampering with evidence. Keon King was charged with murder and abuse of a corpse. His attorney, Sheikah Johnson, didn't return a message seeking comment. Johnson was the defense attorney for Maurice Hill, a man who shot 6 police officers during a standoff in 2019. He said that he refuted that he picked up the case for money or notoriety, specifying he could do the case for free. In fact, Johnson revealed that he was King's representation in a previous strangulation case, before he was charged in Scott's kidnapping and murder. A question many of you will be asking yourself: when is Keon King's court appearance scheduled? Many reports provided different dates, even in the beginning of November, on the 3rd. It's a little unclear and fuzzy at this point. We'll probably see updates in the upcoming weeks. Stick with me, because this is not the end of the video yet. November the 18th, 2025, a Tuesday, just a week ago as of the moment that I'm recording this. It would have been Kada Scott's 24th birthday, but also Kada's mom's birthday, a day that she once shared with her daughter. There are no words to express the grief and pain felt by the family on such a memorable and special day, spent without their loved one. Her family has worked extensively to continue her legacy and to make sure she's still remembered. In this regard, a foundation was created named the Kada Scott Foundation, a way to keep her memory alive in the community by offering scholarships to young women pursuing higher education. It's just amazing what her family did. Kada's father, Kevin Scott, sat down with CBS News Philadelphia and pointed out that with this foundation, the idea behind is that it's possible to provide the next generation of young women in Philadelphia the chance that Kada deserved but didn't achieve, unfortunately. Kada's public funeral was held on November the 8th at the Mount Airy Church of God in Christ, where hundreds of people joined from across the city and region, showing their unconditional love towards this young and spirited girl. Even Mayor Terrell Parker and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro attended the funeral. Here's what the family said, quote, "Our hearts are broken beyond measure. We are profoundly thankful to every person who shared Kada's story, joined the search efforts, prayed with us, and stood by our family during this devastating time. Your compassion, love, and strength have carried us when we cannot carry ourselves. Kada was deeply, deeply loved. Her light, kindness, and beautiful spirit will forever remain in our hearts." We also wish to extend our hearts for gratitude to Mayor Terrell Parker, the Philadelphia Police Department, all the first responders, local volunteers, community organizations, and media outlets, as well as everyone who worked tirelessly to help find our daughter. Although the outcome is one no parent should ever have to face, we remain thankful for the unity, leadership, and love that surrounded us through it all. As we continue to grieve, our family now seeks justice for Kada. We place our full trust in the Philadelphia Police Department and the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office to ensure that the truth is revealed and that those responsible are held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Please honor Kada's memory by showing kindness and care to one another, just as she did every day of her life." Unquote. As said previously, a GoFundMe was started when Kada Scott allegedly vanished. The primary objective of the campaign was a fund reward, but it has been shifted to a Justice and Memorial Fund instead. The family thanked everyone who stood by their side, fueling them with hopes and support along their painful journey, their journey for justice. As of the end of November 2025, almost $25,000 out of the $26,000 the family has set as a final goal have been collected, and I'm positive that they will soon reach that goal in the name of Kada. Here's an update by Kevin Scott on October the 21st. Quote, "Dear friends, family, and supporters, it is with unimaginable sorrow that we confirm our daughter, Kada Scott, has been found deceased. Our hearts are broken beyond words. We are profoundly grateful for everyone who stood by us, those who donated, shared their story, and prayed for her safe return. Your compassion and support have carried our family through the hardest days of our lives. This campaign will now serve as a Justice and Memorial Fund. All donations will be used to cover Kada's funeral and memorial expenses, and any remaining balance will be donated to the Black and Missing Foundation in Kada's name. Our hope is that her story will continue to bring awareness and resources to other families still searching for their loved ones. We will post further updates as memorial details are finalized. Thank you for standing with us, for keeping Kada's memory alive, and for helping us turn her light into hope for others. Unquote. Bringing awareness and support for other families are the key words used by the Scott family. Their pain is not only theirs, because there are plenty of families out there whose loved ones had a tragic ending and are in desperate need of answers. We truly believe that by sharing Kada's stories in areas like these might be preventable, especially for the younger generations. Justice will be served and the person, or probably the people responsible, will get what they deserve. Staying behind bars and remember every single day that there's no turning back to this. A family has been left in pain. Kada will always make up a place in our hearts. Well, that's the end of this episode, guys. Let me know your opinions on this case. It all happened in a span of little time. Kada met her unfair fate, and this is the saddest part. I really appreciated what the family did in order to keep a light on her and make sure she will be in the hearts of so many people. See you in the next episode, and until then, stay safe and stay aware.